Hey, welcome to the Make Sense with Your Money Radio Show. It is your girl, Cynthia Hurley, and today we are going to have a continuation of the show on last week where we talked about the housing crisis and how you can be a part of the solution. So, first, I'd like to welcome everybody. I want to thank those of you who are watching and those of you who are going to watch. And those of you who have questions, or you may have some comments, you could put them in the chat. If you have questions, all of the questions I may not be able to answer on the air because a lot of you, you see the show after the live, okay? But you still have an opportunity to get the questions to me, all right? Listen, me and my team, we are available to answer your questions. You can just shoot them to my email, which is info, at cynthiahurley.net. Easy. And also, we also monitor the live feed after the show has ended. So we are able to see the questions that you have, and we're able to respond that way as well. So we are live on Facebook tonight, right now. We're live on YouTube at Make Sense with Money. That is the tagline. We're also live right now on Twitch. For those of you who don't know what Twitch TV is, I suggest you look it up. Um, and we're going to have some live snippets of the show on LinkedIn and also on Instagram Live. I mean, okay, well, not live, but Instagram. So let's get started. As I said last week, we talked about, at least I went over the information as to how you can be a part of the solution. I didn't give you too much, but today I'm going to finish it out, unless we have to go into a part three. But I basically wanted to let a lot of you know that, there's a lot of people who want to they want to get into the group home business, transitional housing, group homes, being servants in the community, being a help in their community. And group homes is one of the ways that you can do that. You know, um, it is an untapped market. And I'm saying it's untapped because there's not a lot of transitional homes, uh, not too many group homes. And I know because I'm in the market. So we need a lot of people who want to be a part of the solution, not people who want to just make money. Because when you just want to make money at somebody else's expense, somebody's going to get neglected, and it's not going to be you. All right. So we got to remember these are people that we're dealing with, people that, you know, just think about if somebody in your family was, I don't know, supposing you wasn't here no more. You got to think of these things because it can happen. Supposing, God forbid, something happened to you, and you had a mother or aunt or cousin or daughter, and they end up having to be in one of these situations. You would want somebody to treat them right now, wouldn't you? Okay. So anyway, so I'm going to get into the migrant situation, but I'm going to end the show with that because there was an announcement made by our mayor, Eric Adams, in terms of the situation with the migrant housing crisis. And I did mention that. I didn't mention it all the way last week, but I did make some references to it because I knew that that announcement was going to take place. And this is why I was saying that you can be a part of the solution. Okay. But we're going to start off by um, focusing on group homes and what type of group homes that you can start. Most people, like I said, they want to get into group homes, but they don't know how to get started. Most people believe that you need a license. You do not need a license to start a group home, to start a transitional home. Now, there are levels to some of the group homes. That's going to be a part three because I can't get into all of that. Or if you want to know more about all of that, then you need to get the course. There is a course. I'm not pitching the course though, however, but there is a course that is on my website called Build Wealth for Group Homes. You have over something like, it's really like a step by step plan over exactly what you can do from A to Z on how to get started. You got the leases, you got the contracts, how you interview, how do you get your mark, all that kind of stuff. But that's, I'm not advocating that. I really want to help you be able to open one, and with the information that I'm going to give you, you should be able to make a start to do that. So there is no license that's needed. Now, if you want to basically move to a higher level of group homes and care homes facilities, then you can do that. But that's another show right now. Okay, so no license is needed. Okay, what you do need is, you need a heart. You need some compassion, right? You need commitment, because this is not something that you um, start just to get in it for the money. I wouldn't recommend that. There is money in this. There is big money in this. But I pray that that's not what you get involved in it for. Okay. So what are some of the type? What are the type of group homes that you can? And now I explained to you the difference last week between a group home, a transitional home, a sober home. You know, they're all basically intertwined, but the differences are minute. Watch last week's show if you want to know that. I'm not going to go over that in this show because I'm working with a time frame here. Okay. All right. So the home that I personally have, the homes that I have, which is called the Houses of Malachi, we basically work with the prison population. Okay. The prison population that are suffering from mental illness and drug addiction, which is called co-occurring disorders. That is the population that Houses of Malachi deal with. I don't know if you want to deal with that population, because you really need Jesus in your heart to deal with that population. You need Bible study to deal with that population. So if you're not on that path, then, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Not that you don't need them for all of the others, but that is a very rewarding experience to deal with them. But you really got to have some compassion. But it's a very rewarding experience, I would say. And I do not regret not 1 minute of it, but only God put the love in my heart to really deal with these women and help them. They are people too, so I don't like to look at them as uh, drug addicted, or I don't like to look at them as mentally ill. They have names. And when you treat people the way you want to be treated, all is well. All right, so that is the population that I deal with. So you have uh, along with the prison population, right? You also have the group home sector. I'm sorry, the veterans. You can basically actually work with the Veteran Affairs, the Department of Veteran Affairs, and open up a veteran home. That's really, really needed. You don't find too much of those as well, especially um, in our communities. One thing that I find with having homes, the houses of Malachi, is that there's not too many of the intimate group homes in our communities. And that's what I would like to see more of. And this is why, I've been led to uh, really share this information with you and promote how you can get started. There's not too many of them. As I mentioned last week in my show, that the city back then was basically sending women to me because the shelters that they did not have enough room. And it's still the same today. So we need more in the community. We need more of these type of intimate group home houses in the community. All right. So veteran group homes, right? That's a big market. That's really, really needed. It's best when you can separate the group homes and deal with a particular community. I did mention that when I started Houses of Malachi was a melting pot. It was just basically it didn't matter what you were dealing with, what you were suffering from. All of you was in that house together. Whether you was drug addicted from prison, you had mental issues, or you was going through a divorce, or you just need. People go through things, but I'm telling you, Houses of Malachi was a melting pot. It was a little bit of this and that and all kind of situations, but by the grace of God, it worked. Okay, but now talking about veterans, I would suggest that um, if that is an area that you want to focus on, I would recommend that you just do a home that strictly houses veterans. Okay, and they. I know a lot of people. You want to say, "Oh, how much do they pay?" Wait a minute, I'm gonna get to all of that. Okay, veterans. You can have veteran homes. You can work with the Department of Veteran Affairs. Um, you know they have different levels, though. They have different levels. Some levels are more serious than others. You can actually get to the point where you can may have to obtain a license if you want to get the 10, 15, $20,000 per person per month. Well, I would say 10 to 15,000. You know, that requires the licensing. Right now, everything I'm talking about does not require a license, but they do have some programs with the Veteran Affairs that you can get 1,500 and up to maybe 2,500 per person, no license needed. But these are the type of individuals that can care for their own. They actually perform the ADLs and the IADLs. And for those of you who don't know what that is, okay, they are uh, they're daily self care activities. That's what they are. And all health providers routinely, right, refer to the ability or inability to perform ADLs as a measurement of the functional status of a person. Okay. Particularly with regards to people who, that may have disabilities or maybe elderly. They kind of base it off of their ADLs or their IADLs. ADLs is the um, activities of daily living, and the IADLs is the independent, the instrumental activities of daily living. So you want to make sure that they're able to perform these type of things. And when you're working with the Veterans Department, you let them know what type of house what type of group home you have, and you can work all of that out so they know exactly what type of people to send you. Like I said, if very, very uh, rewarding experience to deal with the veterans. No, I do not have a veteran home, but I do help people set up these programs. So, so you can basically set up a veteran home. For that, you will have to contact the Department of Veteran Affairs. Okay, like I said, the fees, right, for the veteran program, where you don't need no license. 1,500 up to 3,000, 3,500 per person, and you're allowed to have up to two people in the room. Okay, all right, let's move on. The uh, domestic violence is another one. Okay, you can open up a home for domestic violence, women for domestic violence, and with the domestic violence, you can basically still work with the city, and you can work with the domestic violence organizations as well, because this is how you can get your community of women. Okay, how do you get? There's all different type of ways to get funding. I'm not telling you all of that. I don't have time to tell you all of that, but some of them, you get paid through the city, but there's all different type of ways you can get financing through that. All right, or moving on to the next one, we also have, um, what is it, senior housing. Senior housing. Now, I want to share something with you, because depending on what level of community you want to deal with, in all of these different sectors, these different communities, I like to call them communities because they're people, you have different tiers. Okay, depending on how involved. uh, you want to, you want this, the organization, the home to be. Some of these people, right? They have issues, and depending on how much of the issues you want to take on, you know, uh, that's how you can set it up. Okay, that and that also can determine the amount of monthly income that you uh, can make. So the the developmentally disabled. Now, this particular community may require you to be licensed, depending on how you really take care of them. You know, um, but before I get to that, we talked about seniors and shared housing. I'm sorry, y'all, I went straight and I forgot about the seniors. But the seniors, now let's talk about shared housing has become very popular. It has become very popular with the seniors, right? And I want to show you something. Then I'll get to the. I want you to look at this. You can make up to $8,000 a month helping out your community. Now you see, well, some of these are just development disabled. You got some that are seniors. You got some that are homeless. But even with seniors, because seniors now you have a lot of people who are retiring. You have a lot of family members who do not want to take care of their parents. So they're looking for places to put them. Or you have some seniors who don't want to live alone. They may want to, be in a community of like-minded people. And the one way that that can be done, right, is through shared housing. So what does that encompass? It basically means, you may have a home. You may have an elder aunt who has a home, or you have a home. And, maybe, you know, of course, we know as people get older, they get lonely. And sometimes family forgets about them, they don't visit them. So you open up the home to other like minded seniors that, it can be a little community for them of women, you know, or if you're going to do a men's house where they can all get along. But everybody basically they pay, a monthly fee to, of course, live in the community. And it's really a group home. But this is another way of helping out your community. And I'm going to tell you that the senior shared housing is on the rise. When I say that, a lot of seniors are now adopting to this principle. There are a lot of seniors who adopted because they don't have nobody to really take care of them. So a lot of them are moving into or looking because the Department of Aging has also started their own community housing program. Okay. But you can start your own as well, right? Just get a house and, follow whatever the guidelines are, which I told you I'm not going to tell you all of that now because I don't have the time to do that. If you want more information, you can always refer to the course. All right. But anyway, you find a lot of seniors who are, and matter of fact, I'm going to tell you who actually participated in the program. Y'all remember Gloria Gaynor? I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know her. She is a part, she actually opened up her home to senior housing so that she can, one, because I guess maybe she needed the money as well, lonely as well. So she opened up her home and she has uh, what's considered is group shared housing with other seniors. So it basically benefits both, all. And in terms of, fees, you know, it could be 1,000, maybe more per month because, you have to work all of that out. And, you know, that's that's the course. Okay, you can find all that out in the course. But anyway, So if you have your home open up to maybe, I don't know, maybe five women, you got a 3 bedroom house, you can do two in a room, right? And I don't know, maybe have four four elderly, maybe five in the home. Maybe you get the home, use your room, or whoever. If you're an elderly person, you're thinking about doing that, you have your room for yourself. But you can also open up the other 3 bedrooms that you have. That's two, four, six. That's 6,000 or more, or maybe or 4,000 if you only want to do two. These are things that you have to work out. I'm just throwing this at you, just giving you some ideas and suggestions you may want to implement. Now, moving on to the next community is the disabled. Now, developmentally disabled, that requires licensing. Okay. Um, but there are ways that I wouldn't even recommend going into that um, community until you kind of get your hands wet with the easier communities, because you want to basically kind of learn the system, and then I would recommend that you can move on to uh, the developmentally disabled community. But some of you may want to just you can jump right in, because you can always come up with a strategy to open up that type of home and make it work. So I'm not trying to discourage you from doing that by no means, but it's good to kind of get your hands wet, and when you're dealing with more significant community, when I'm not significant, more involved, you'll be more involved in those type of communities. But not even so, you may want to partner with somebody, they can do all of that kind of stuff, and you can learn that way. There's all kind of ways that you can do it. But I want to show you something, now that we're talking about that community. Now, here's an article, and you probably can't even really see this article, but it reads Reaping Millions in Nonprofit Care for Disabled. Now, this is a company run by two Jewish brothers, and they've been in business for a couple of years, but they're reaping millions. They're a nonprofit organization, and they take care of the disabled. All right. I showed you that article because now what they have done, they don't necessarily run the operation themselves, but they set up a system. And their nonprofit group home is a facility, is bringing in millions every year. Okay. What they have done is they have basically contracted out, you know, to get the help that they need to run the facility. And that's also possible. That's another way that you can do that as well. That's also in the course. But if that is the way that you want to do it now, um, I do know that, and this is right here in the Brooklyn area, by the way. Um, they do visit the facility, but they're not hands on in terms of running the facility. Now, if that's something that you want to do, by all means, you can do that as well. So I'm just, kind of throwing out some of these things just so you can catch it, and hopefully that you can use it to your advantage. Now, I also now want to talk about the migrant situation. Now, for many of you who, I don't know if you happen to see the news. Like I said, there was an announcement made by Mayor Eric Adams this week. Now, I did not, I mentioned it in the show last week. I didn't mention to you that it was going to be an announcement made, but I knew that there was going to be an announcement made. I couldn't say anything. But basically, what he is contemplating, well, which is what something that he's going to do, is something that he is going to do, but he's just trying to work out the details, um, is to allow local homeowners to participate in this housing crisis, meaning that you all will be able to open up your home to the migrants and get paid. So they were only working with the hotels, right? But the hotels are maxed out. So They were actually putting some of these migrants in schools and, I mean, what is it? Parking lots, setting up tents and all of that kind of stuff. All of that is maxed out. And these parents, they're not having it. They're like, listen, we don't want them in our schools. So guess what now? They have opened up the opportunity for you to house home of these migrants. Now, how do some of you feel about that? Some people may not want these people in their house. But if you have more than a two family or three family, that's that's icing on the cake because you're not really having them in your home, but you having them in your um in your property. So that's just like renting it out to a tenant because you don't know who you rent your house out to. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically the same thing. But now watch this. So they are willing to compensate homeowners to allow you to house these migrants. Okay. Now, what Mayor Adams and his team is saying, which is, I agree, is that there are people who are suffering right now because of economic challenges. Okay. And they have spare rooms, right? And this is a way that they can put money back into the pockets of the taxpayers. Okay. That's the truth. They're willing to now put money back into the pockets of you and whoever else want to be a part of the program. Okay. Right now they're working with the houses of worship. They're working with churches as well. Okay, which I think is a great idea. I used to be part of the program with I had a Houses of Malachi location in Central Islip on Long Island before it burned down. But I was the church that I was working with that was so gracious enough to run. They were helping me run Houses of Malachi, and it was a beautiful thing. But we also used to be a part. I was part of this program called Almost Home. So what we would do is out in Central Islip, they have woods, and we would go out there and the churches. We would partner up and go and get the homeless people that lived in the woods, and they would come back to the church, and we would house them overnight. A couple of nights I house them overnight, give them food and clothing and stuff like that. But it was called Almost Home. Okay. And some of them, depending on whether I had enough room or not, would come to the Houses of Malachi if we had spare rooms to try to house them. And then there was another transitional home for men as well that we were able to transition these people from the woods to housing. Okay. And for the ones that we didn't, we were just able to provide them the resources to help them to get back up on their feet. Okay. But anyway, um, so the houses of worship now is going to be able to become a part of this program. The mayor is working with them and is paying them churches, especially I don't know, but small churches can get in on this. I know that a lot of the small churches, they struggle. Me and my bishop, Dr. Ebony Kirkland, who she is uh, the founder and the CEO of Worldwide Association of Small Churches. Okay, but we work a lot with small churches, and so I know what goes on in the small church. I know some of the challenges that the small churches go through. But anyway, the mayor is working with houses of worship, whether you small, big, doesn't matter. They are paying churches $125 per night for each asylum seeker. Okay. So if you have room, this is you may want to contact the mayor's office. And one thing that I notice about small churches is I think they sometimes they feel I'm trying to use the right word because I don't want to offend anybody, but a lot of small churches, it's almost like they're ashamed because they're small. But big things come out of small packages. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Not don't be ashamed. I love small churches. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I absolutely love small churches because just because it's small in size, but it's big in impact. It ain't got nothing to do with the size, and that's where some of you miss it. But anyway, let me stay on focus on course here. Small churches, and watch this. The program, right? Um, with the churches, with the houses of worship, you can house them at night, right? But the mayor's office is, how can I say, is they're working with day programs. All of you day programs, well, you day programs, because I see some of you have closed down during the pandemic, but the adult day programs, or if you own a day program, may want to open a day program, because this is where they are putting the migrants. They listen, not only are they housing the migrants, but they're educating them. They want to give them resources and help them to become productive members of society. Now, I know a lot of people are in uproar because they're saying that, oh, well, you got people here and, they're not doing what they're supposed to do for the people that are here. Listen, you want to be a part of the problem or the part of the solution? Because these elected officials, they're going to do what they have to do. Do you want to be a part of the problem or part of the solution? Okay? These people need help. I'm not saying I'm not saying anything, but this is what I am saying. Let me stick to course. This is ways for those of you, right, to maybe start the dream of doing your passion, something that you've never wanted to. I mean, never you wanted to do, but you just didn't know how. You didn't know how to go about it. They're looking for people who can educate these people, that can train these people. Okay, um, they're looking for day programs so that in the daytime, these people will not be in your house of worship. They will only come back to your house of worship in the evening. Of course, you will have to set up beds and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, and by no means I'm advocating for the churches to do this, but I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just sharing. That's what I'm doing. I'm sharing. Okay. But these are the things that are in place, and it is an opportunity for those of you who may wanted to start some type of business. Maybe you got some training in you that maybe you bilingual and you may know a few things. Maybe you can teach something. You can start your own, company. I'm just throwing some ideas. Maybe you can, rent out some space at the library and train these immigrants, migrants, contract with the city and get paid for it. I'm just giving y'all some stuff. I'm just giving it to you. If you don't really know how to get started, call me. I'll show you. I'm not gonna show you for free though, but I'm kind of giving you all this free stuff now. But I'll help you to get started. This is an opportunity to, start your business and make some money. But anyway, so they're working with the houses of worship, okay? And uh so everybody is getting an opportunity to get paid. I know it's not about getting paid, but everybody, the individuals, the residents, all of us who live here, the churches, everybody is getting an opportunity to get paid. But this is interesting though. Watch this. This is what I find interesting is that they're opening this up to New Yorkers, right? To residents who are homeowners or who can house these migrants or not willing to open their homes up to these people to get $125 per person. But guess what? That's more money. They're getting paid more money to host a migrant than they are to be a foster parent. So, Mayor, the city might have to do something about that. They might have to work over with that little, Um, but anyway, back to the lesson at hand. Okay. All right. Who used to sing that? Was this? back to the lesson at hand. Snoop Dogg or one of them. Anyway, um, so anyway, you can be a part of the solution. You can be a part of the solution. Now, for some of you who may be thinking, oh, because this is the first thing I thought, because I used to be in real estate, I own property, so I know about the 30-day rule. And this is what the mayor and his team is working out now, which is the 30-day rule. Okay. Anytime somebody is in your home for longer than 30 days, they can claim rights, or what they call it, squatters' rights. It's hard to evict them. Okay. Unless you have the right language in your contract. But anyway, this is what they're trying to work out so that it don't be no claiming no rights in somebody else's house. So that's what they're working on before they roll it out to you. And you all can be a part of it and all of that kind of stuff. All right. But it is recycling dollars in New York State. They let everybody get a part of this pie. You know, they letting everybody um, to be able to partake in it. And watch this. This deal that they have with the churches is a 2-year deal. So for all of you small churches, um, I don't know, you may want to go to pray about it, because I don't believe in doing nothing without praying. Even though those of you who are thinking about opening up your homes, it's not always all about the money, but pray about it and see what the Lord tell you. Okay. But watch this. That's a 2-year deal. So that means that if the Lord leads you, you can use your small church, right, to get that money and use that money to open up a bigger sanctuary. A lot of the small churches, they have what's called building funds, even some of the big churches. But I'm just saying, okay. See, I'm a strategist. I'm an economics economist. So I'm always thinking about ways to strategize on how you can make use of things and how you can extend and grow your territory and double your money, triple your money. That's a 2-year program that they have. It's a 2-year agreement contract with these churches. You may want to go talk to the Lord. You understand? Go talk to Jesus. Go talk to our Heavenly Father and see what He give you, what He say to you, the Holy Spirit. Go see what the Holy Spirit, how He instruct you. Now, 45,900 asylum seekers is what they call them now. I don't want to call them migrant, but it's okay. They have them spread out in 157 emergency sites set up across the 5 boroughs. 45,900. They're not stopping. It's bursting out the seams, y'all. They don't even have a choice. That's why they're trying to bring everybody else in. I think, listen, if you who trying to, rent properties and all this kind of stuff, not even that, but what about even starting your group home? You can start a group home just for the asylum seekers. Hello? Okay. Now, last week, it was over 2,000 of them arrived in 1 week. There's opportunity here, y'all. Opportunity. There's opportunity, a lot of opportunity. Okay. Um, so think about that. There are different ways. Now, I do believe that uh let me see. I do believe that I did go over last week of all of the different ones. This week I didn't share all of the group home sectors that you can open, communities, because I did cover that last week. But this is what I want you to if you're thinking about doing a group home, the first thing I want you to do, find out your why. Why are you doing this? Why? Okay. The why is very important. Have you thought about it in details? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Okay. Helping others can help you find yourself. But the more people you help, remember, the more money you will make. Okay. I want you to look at and determine your why you're doing it. Don't doing it because I and somebody else said, oh, you can make so much money, and that's not why you do it. The money is going to come. See, when you're doing something and you really, you know, putting your all into it and you're doing it for the right reasons, the money's going to come. It's going to come. Number two, right? Um, Wait a minute, because I have. You want to find out your niche, which community you want to help. Like I said, you got veterans, you got domestic violence, you got the ex-offenders, women from prison, men in prison. You have substance abusers. You have the mentally ill. Oh, I don't like to call them mentally ill, but they have mental challenges. You know, you have the ones who are drugs, the disabled. You have a lot of them. Seniors. You can do seniors if you don't want to get that involved. You can do youth at risk, pregnant moms. Okay, they have different type of homes, like I was telling you earlier. The type one, right, which is where you don't need a license. You don't need a license at all. But these are the least restrictive type of group homes or transitional homes, is what I like to call them. I like to refer to them both. You know, um, right? You can do that. That's like a sober home. Maybe in a senior home. You know, that's a type one where you don't have to really do too much for them. They're self sufficient. That's a type one. Type two, group home or transitional home, the residents, they have chores and they have jobs. Sometimes they work. Like houses in Malachi, a lot of those women, they work, if they're able to. But the first, when I first got involved in the business, I didn't really know what I was doing. So a lot of them, no, most of them did not work. And until I developed a system, you know, then I was able to set up the system as to how I wanted the house to run. All right. So a lot of the women in your program, you can bring them in for them to work, or you may have a system or program where because of their condition or whatever, they don't work. Okay. So some of them have jobs. Type two, they're self-sufficient, right? But they can't live alone. That's the difference with the type two. And the type two, you don't need 24-hour staff per day, because some of these homes you need 24-hour staff. Houses of Malachi, they had what's called the house manager. And, the house manager is someone who's monitoring the house and lives on the premises. Okay. You want to know more about how to get the house managers, and just go ahead and get the course. Like I said, I'm not selling the course, but all of that's in there. That everything that you want to know about a house, a group home, a transitional home, the sector, is all in the course. I think the course is like $249. That's it. But anyway, the type three group home, you need a 24-hour staff, right? Many of the residents, they may have emotional problems. Maybe they may need help. They You got to cook for them, and they need help with their ADLs. Okay. Type four. Now, this is the most restrictive. And I go over all this in the course as well. This is the most restrictive because this is the severely disturbed clients. juvenile delinquencies, people with emotional issues. Maybe they can't really walk, maybe they in a wheelchair, maybe they need you to watch them. You got to give medication, all that kind of stuff. That's the most restrictive. You do need a license for that, which is not difficult to get. But that's why I always recommend that you start with like a type 1, 2, and you gradually move up to 3, 4. That way you get an experience, you get your hands in the soil. You got to get your hands dirty so you can understand. Yes, it requires time, but for some of you who don't want to deal with it, you can always partner and y'all work that out. Okay. So yeah, yeah, that's how you do that. So you got to find your niche. What population do you want to work? Which population do you want to work with? Okay. Um, Now, you found the population, um, but you may want to your target market, right? So, what do you mean by that, Cynthia? Okay, um, your target market. So, what do I mean? Okay, so you found out why you want to do this, right? Number one, who do you want to help? Number two, now your target market is who you want to find out your target market and how do you market to them. Okay, let's say your target audience is to be people with mental issues because you found out that's your niche, but now you know that's your target market. Now how do you market to them? These are things that all these things you need to consider as you develop your course, or you say, okay, this is what I want to do, because then and only then can you begin to build and structure your system, right? You can begin to structure your system. And I just want to make sure I don't miss out on anything, right? You want to be able to say, okay, all right, so now if I decide to work with this population, right, I know that if uh, how do I get these people? Who do I talk to? What do I say? These are all of the things, do they come out to me? Like, do they come check the house? Do they inspect? Yeah, you need to know all of these things. Do I need a website? Yeah, you need to look like a business. You can't be going into this sloppy, you know. Yeah, I know you want to make money, but you got to be presentable. So this is what I recommend. And I know a lot of you do this, and it's okay. I'm not trying to discourage you from doing anything. What a lot of you do is you go online and you get a little bit from this one, and a little bit from that one, and a little bit from this one about what you want to do. And then you go ahead and try to start the thing. That does not work, okay? Because most of the people that are on there giving you a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little over here and a little over there. These people don't have group homes. They don't have transitional homes. So they did the same thing you did, and then they're going to try to educate you and sell you a course and don't know nothing about it. So stop messing with the chickens, the turtles, and come up and invest in yourself and get the information that's going to give you the strategy from A to Z on how to not only start the group home, the transitional home, how do you get the clients? How do you get the house with no money down? It just gives you everything. And I told you, I'm not trying to sell the course. I didn't had this course out for, I don't know, almost 3 years. I don't think I've never got on social media and promoted it. But now, I'm trying to help some of y'all. And if you don't think you are worth $249, then shame on you. That's shame on you. And if you can't afford $249, shame on you. Okay. So now, as I will say again, you can obtain the course that'll give you everything from A to Z. And that way, when you set up your system, you'll do it right with the every Adams agenda. That is a way for you to even start. That's a way for you to start, you know, to get your experience. Okay. Um, Also, for those of you who might not want to purchase the course for $249, I do have a starter mini course, and it's basically just telling you how to. And I just thought about that. I forgot. Um, if you're going to work with this, let's say you decide, you know what, I want to work with Eric Adams. Let me see if I can get a home somewhere. Maybe let me see if I can get a property or something like that. Because that's the number one question people have. People don't have the place to house them. They don't have property. People want to buy property. Well, there is a mini course. I think it's $7. When you go to my Instagram page, I believe, go to my Instagram at Make Sense with Money. You'll find a link. But that my easytree.me/make sense with money. Um, you can find that's the link to get the $7 mini course. But it's basically showing you how you can get the property with no money down without buying it. Some people think that that's impossible. I don't think that's impossible because if any of you watched the show last week, you would have heard my personal testimony. And my personal testimony was I was one of those homeowners who wanted to rent out. Matter of fact, I just wanted to just get rid of the property. I was trying to sell it, but I couldn't because there were no available buyers. What I now know was a setup from God. But anyway, some lady who I was introduced to by a friend of mine's who had a program like this, a group home of women, and I'm not going to tell the whole story, but basically, she came to me and proposed an offer, and I took it. So I'm saying to you that I know that it works because I was one of those landlords. The only thing that you need is persistency. You need to be consistent and you need to get out there and be persistent. And this is what most of us don't are not. You can get a house. You can find a landlord that's willing to work with you. And that is what I'm giving away for the $7, I believe. Yeah. Kind of help you with the process of what to do and all of that kind of stuff, you know. Um, so that's the show. That's the show. I hope that, you can use this information to help you to jumpstart your business, your transitional home, your group home, or maybe another business that you may want to start. These asylum seekers are here to stay, y'all. They ain't going nowhere. And we're still getting them in. Last week, what I just said, we had over like 2,000, over 2,200 of them came in. I was just reading an article in the paper where there was a young lady who has a nonprofit, and her nonprofit basically works with women who okay, I may not have, but anyway, her nonprofit basically was a straight match for these asylum seekers. For many of you who speak bilingual, who speak Spanish, you know, there's a lot of things you can teach them. You can start one, maybe you can have clothes to offer. You know, be another part of Dress for Success. There's a lot of opportunity here, y'all, to make some money. Think about how you can be a part of the solution. Think on how you can be a part of the solution. Okay? I am so glad that all of you have decided to stay with me during this hour. I really appreciate it. Um, it's been wonderful sharing this time with you. You can actually share the video as well for those who you might think can benefit from it. Okay. Um, I will say that you can watch me every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on this show, Make Sense with Your Money, um, streaming live on YouTube, of course, Facebook and Twitch TV. Also, I'm going to be coming out with a newsletter, and that newsletter you'll be able to. It's called America, okay, and you may want to sign up because there's going to be some very interesting topics with the newsletter. But in any event, thank you so much for tuning in. I pray that you all have a wonderful month, the month of June. Have a wonderful month and enjoy the rest of your evening. And God's willing, I'll see you um, next week, right? I'm trying to close out here. I'll see you next week. Take care.